One racist stop. 40 years of legal brilliance. And a reckoning that would reach the Senate. Evelyn Brooks stood calm in the sunlight, her gray afro a halo of defiance against a badge used as a weapon. She warned the officer, but he chose arrogance over the law. Now, the Department of Justice is waking up, and the quietest woman on the street is about to make the loudest impact in the country. Before we get deep into story, please let me know in the comment where you're watching from. Hit the subscribe button if you're hooked in and ready to enjoy the story. Evelyn Brooks moved through her Saturday routine with the methodical pleasure of ritual. Farmer's market first, then dry cleaner, then Page and Paragraph, the independent bookstore that had survived 23 years on this corner. She'd been coming here since Jonathan was in law school, back when her legal notebook was always full and her calendar overbooked. Now the notebook rode in her canvas tote mostly empty. 40 years of civil rights law had filled it with Supreme Court citations, client names, case numbers that meant everything to the families they'd touched and nothing to anyone else. She'd retired 3 years ago. Told herself she'd earned the quiet. Told herself younger lawyers could carry the fight forward. Most days she believed it. She'd taught Know Your Rights workshops for 30 years. Church basements and community centers, explaining Terry stops and probable cause to people who needed the law's protection but rarely saw it work that way. Won some cases. Lost more. Learned that justice and the legal system were not always synonyms. The bell above Page and Paragraph's door chimed. Marcus Williams, the owner, smiled from his desk. Ms. Brooks. The usual section. The usual section. She headed toward civil rights history in the back, but paused at the window. Something in the quality of silence outside. Dante Washington sat on the bench by the entrance, where he always sat Saturday afternoons. 16, slight build, oversized hoodie despite the warmth, absorbed in his book. Malcolm X's autobiography. She'd read it at about his age, when the world was different but somehow exactly the same. The patrol car pulled up slowly. Deliberate. Officer Mark Reynolds stepped out with practiced swagger. 12 years on the force, multiple complaints that never stuck. The union protected him. The system protected him. He knew it. He approached Dante with that particular gait. Not rushing, not casual. The walk of a man looking for something to find. What are you doing here? His voice carried through glass. Dante looked up, confused. Reading. Don't get smart with me. Let me see some ID. Evelyn's hand tightened on her tote. The old instinct rising. 40 years of courtrooms and confrontations. The thing that made her good at her job and exhausted by it. She'd promised herself she was done. Earned the right to look away. Let someone else fight. But Dante's face held something she recognized. Fear that comes from doing nothing wrong but knowing it wouldn't matter. Confusion at being treated like a threat for existing in public space. The terrible mathematics of calculating whether compliance or explanation would get him home safely. She thought of Jonathan at that age. Tall for 16, serious, already planning to be a lawyer. She'd taught him what to do if police stopped him. Hands visible. Voice calm. Yes sir, no sir. Hated teaching him that. Hated that her intelligence and law degree and his father's memory couldn't protect him from this particular danger. Dante wasn't her son. But he was someone's son. Evelyn set her tote on the counter. Marcus, I'll be right back. She walked outside into afternoon sun, toward the conversation that would change everything. Her legal notebook stayed in the bag. After 40 years, the law lived in her bones. Excuse me, officer. Evelyn's voice carried the courtesy of 40 years in courtrooms. I'm wondering what reasonable suspicion you have for this stop? Reynolds turned, body language shifting instantly. Ma'am, step back. This is police business. Under Terry v. Ohio, you need articulable reasonable suspicion. Sitting on a public bench isn't suspicious activity. Hands visible. Posture open. Non-threatening. His face reddened. Are you a lawyer? I was. For 40 years. The moment changed. Shoppers slowed. A woman with a stroller stopped. A teenager leaned against the coffee shop window, phone already out. The crowd wasn't gathering, but people were noticing. Staying. Watching. Reynolds felt it. Private interaction becoming public performance. He turned back to Dante, voice harder. Stand up. Put your hands on the wall. He's a minor, Evelyn said. Are you detaining him? If so, on what grounds? I said step back. Reynolds took a half step toward her. Height. Uniform. Authority. The tools that usually worked. Evelyn didn't move. Didn't touch him. I'm exercising my First Amendment right to observe a public official performing his duties. Something crystallized in his expression. This woman wasn't intimidated. The crowd was growing. His authority was being questioned. He needed to reassert control. Pride overriding judgment. You're interfering with a police investigation. Turn around. I'm doing no such thing. I'm standing on a public sidewalk. Turn around now or I'll charge you with obstruction. Officer, I strongly suggest you check my identification before you proceed. But Reynolds was committed. He'd given an order. She hadn't complied. In front of witnesses. In front of phones. He couldn't back down. Weakness was the one thing 12 years had taught him never to show. He grabbed her arm. Spun her around. Reading glasses swung on their chain. Canvas tote hit pavement. Legal notebook, paperback, water bottle rolling toward the curb. Handcuffs clicked shut. Metal on bone. Tight enough to mark. The crowd gasped. Collective breath from witnessing something crossing a line. Elderly woman. Gray hair. Handcuffed on Saturday afternoon for asking a question. Phones rose. Dozens. The teenager, the mother, the businessman, college students, the barista. All documenting. Creating evidence that couldn't be erased. Officer Reynolds. Evelyn read his name tag, voice steady. You should know this was recorded. His jaw tightened. I don't care who's watching. Then, cutting through murmurs. Oh my God. That's Attorney General Brooks's mother. Reynolds froze. Hand still on her arm. Attorney General. Brooks. Mother. Behind them, visible in every frame, the bus stop advertisement. Jonathan Brooks's official portrait, Justice Department seal gleaming beneath leading with justice. Evelyn's voice quiet. I tried to warn you. His hand fell. But the handcuffs were locked. The phones were recording. The moment was already viral, spreading through networks neither could control. In 18 hours, the Civil Rights Division would open a federal investigation. Right now, Reynolds just stood there, staring at the woman he'd handcuffed, whose son ran justice, who'd given him every chance to walk away, who'd tried to warn him. Tasha Williams hit upload at 2:47 p.m. College sophomore, criminal justice major. Phone steady through the whole thing. Caption simple. Cop just handcuffed an elderly black woman for citing the Constitution. Pretty sure that's the AG's mom. Hashtag handcuffed dignity. By 2:52 p.m., 1,000 views. By 3:18 p.m., 50,000. Black Twitter found it first, always did. Verified accounts sharing. Activists who'd tracked police violence for years. Lawyers who recognized Terry versus Ohio in Evelyn's calm voice. 3:45. 250,000. Algorithm on fire. 4:23. 1 million. Trending number 1 nationally. By 5:10 p.m., 4.1 million views. International news. BBC, Al Jazeera, Reuters. The image too powerful to ignore. Elderly black woman, gray afro, hands cuffed, utterly composed while the officer's face shifted from aggression to dawning horror. Archive footage resurfaced. Jonathan's confirmation hearing 3 months ago. His opening statement on loop. My mother taught me that the law exists to protect the powerless, not empower the powerful. Irony too sharp to miss. Social media split. Outrage from those who'd lived this or feared it. Wait for the facts from those who never had to. But the facts were on video. 38 seconds that couldn't be explained away. Then Reynolds's body cam footage leaked. Someone trying to justify maybe. It backfired. Showed exactly what Tasha's video showed. Evelyn never touched him, never raised her voice, simply cited Supreme Court precedent while a teenager sat reading. White House press secretary at 5 o'clock briefing. We're aware and reviewing the matter. No further comment. Careful distance from an administration that knew this could explode. In the Oval Office, Jonathan sat through national security briefing, attention fractured. His aide slipped in, whispered, showed him the phone. He watched once. 38 seconds. His mother's voice. The handcuffs. The crowd's gasp. The president noticed. Jonathan. Excuse me, Mr. President. I need to make a call. He left. Dialed Evelyn's cell. She answered from the police station, not charged yet, sitting with her tote bag and dignity. Mom, are you hurt? I'm fine, honey. But that young man, Dante, he's terrified. I'll handle this. Jonathan, don't do anything that compromises your office. Her voice held the same tone from when he was 8, wanting to fight every injustice with his fists. Teaching him power without principle was just force. That law could be weapon or shield, depending on who wielded it. Mom, you taught me what my office is for. Silence. Then, softly. I know. I just wish it hadn't come to this. By 6 o'clock, department released her. Insufficient evidence. No apology. Just bureaucratic language meaning they'd stepped in something they couldn't wipe clean. Evelyn walked out to 50 cameras. Stopped. Waited for quiet. Spoke briefly. What happened to me today happens to countless Black Americans every day. The difference is, my son has the power to make people listen. But every mother deserves that power. Every child deserves that protection. Statement went viral faster than the video. That night, lights burned late at DOJ Civil Rights Division. Lawyers pulled files, reviewed statutes, mapped jurisdiction. Jonathan didn't call them. Didn't have to. They'd been waiting years for a case this clear, this documented, this impossible to ignore. They knew what to do. They'd always known. Just been waiting for someone with power to let them do it. Monday morning, 6:47 a.m. DOJ Civil Rights Division issued its statement. Carefully worded, standard pattern or practice language, no mention of Evelyn Brooks. But everyone knew. Jonathan held emergency meeting at 7:30. Deputy AG across the table, civil rights chief to his right, both looking at him like a bomb to defuse. I'm recusing from direct involvement. But this office was created for exactly this situation. The optics. The optics of the nation's top law enforcement official ignoring a civil rights violation caught on video are worse. We either enforce the law or admit it doesn't apply equally. No middle position. Press conference at 10 o'clock. Jonathan at podium, measured, professional, determined. The Department of Justice exists to vindicate constitutional rights. When any American is deprived of those rights under color of law, we have not just the authority, but the obligation to investigate. Mr. Attorney General, isn't this a conflict of interest? I've recused from direct involvement. But let me be clear, if this office won't protect constitutional rights when they're violated in broad daylight on camera, then what is our purpose? What about the officer's due process? Jonathan paused. He'll receive every protection the law affords. That's more than my mother received on Saturday. That answer became the news cycle. Within 48 hours, federal grand jury convened. Subpoenas issued, body cam footage, internal affairs files, use of force reports from 8 years. City attorney called it federal overreach. Federal prosecutors called it law enforcement. Officer Reynolds held press conference. Union lawyer beside him. He was doing his job. Evelyn was interfering. Arrest was by the book. Showed his written report. Claimed Evelyn physically blocked him. Video showed her 3 feet away. Claimed she was verbally aggressive. Video showed her citing Supreme Court precedent in Sunday school tone. First lie documented. Not the last. Local journalists dug. 23 citizen complaints in 12 years. All unfounded or not sustained. Pattern. 18 of 23 complainants were black. ACLU announced civil suit review. Department response. Officer Reynolds is a dedicated public servant. Standard line. Meant nothing. Internal affairs files told different story. Federal agents found 73 excessive force complaints across department. 61 involving black residents. City 38% black. 68 complaints dismissed without meaningful investigation. Pattern wasn't just undeniable. It was mathematical. Jonathan received briefing alone, late afternoon light through windows. Fought to keep face neutral while numbers mounted. 73 complaints. 61 black victims. 68 dismissed. He thought about his mother in that station Saturday. Thought about everyone who'd sat in stations like that without cameras, without viral videos, without sons who could move federal machinery. This was bigger than Evelyn. Always had been. The handcuffs on her wrists just made visible what had been invisible for decades. Now cameras caught it. Numbers confirmed it. No looking away. The law was weapon or shield. His mother taught him that. Now he had to decide which way to point it. FBI evidence recovery team arrived Tuesday morning. Federal agents, not local police. Seized servers, body cam storage, evidence room logs. Department IT claimed routine maintenance deleted old files. Standard excuse. Meant nothing to FBI forensic specialists. They found 47 deleted body cam videos from Reynolds alone. All showed aggressive tactics, constitutional violations, casual cruelty of power without consequence. More deleted footage from other officers. Pattern obvious. Videos deleted when complaints filed. Digital cover-up, systematic as the abuse. Federal prosecutor Angela Chen took lead. Jonathan recused, but he'd recommended her. Former civil rights prosecutor. Meticulous, unintimidated. She began interviewing complainants marked unfounded. First interview, Marcus Thompson, arrested 2019 for resisting arrest. Resisting what? Never charged with underlying crime. Body cam showed Reynolds stopping him for matching description. Walking while black. Marcus asked what description. Reynolds got angry. Marcus pulled phone to record. Reynolds grabbed phone, threw Marcus against car, arrested him. Charges dropped after Marcus pled to lesser charge to avoid trial. You were innocent but pled guilty? Couldn't afford to miss work for trial. I have 3 kids. This story repeated. Systematic, arrest on thin pretexts, pressure to plead, build statistics. The machine fed itself. Evidence room audit uncovered another layer. Tampered evidence in multiple cases. Drugs from same batch. Forensics proved it. Weapons with no fingerprints but officers. Wrongful convictions emerging. At least 12 imprisoned on fabricated evidence. Chen brought findings to Jonathan. Recused from prosecution, but as AG received briefing. Scope was staggering. Not one bad cop. Institutional. Decades of policy made flesh. Jonathan authorized pattern or practice investigation. Formal, comprehensive, could lead to consent decree. National news. Conservative media. AG uses mother's arrest to attack police. Progressive media. Federal government finally enforcing civil rights laws. Same facts, different lenses. Community meetings began. Hundreds showed up. Story after story. Humiliation, violence, false charges, destroyed lives. Woman testified. Her son served 3 years for drug possession. Drugs weren't his. Forensics proved they were planted. Been out 2 years, couldn't find work. Conviction followed everywhere. Can you give him those years back? She asked Chen. Chen honest. No. But we can make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Woman nodded, crying. Small comfort in prevention. No comfort in loss. After meeting, Jonathan watched testimonies alone. Late evening, building quiet, just him and these voices. Thought of his mother at kitchen table teaching him to read. Teaching him rights. Believing knowing the law would protect him. It had because he became the law. But these families knew their rights too. Cited Terry versus Ohio too. Arrested anyway. Beaten anyway. Convicted anyway. Rights on paper meant nothing if enforcers didn't believe you deserved them. Constitution just words until someone with power decided those words applied to you. His mother spent 40 years trying to make words real for people the system decided didn't matter. Now he had power to do what she couldn't. Question was whether power would be enough when the system itself was the problem. The line stretched around the block. Federal hearings at community center. DOJ taking testimony. Angela Chen explained the process. Anyone with complaint could testify. Names sealed if needed. Retaliation was federal crime. First witness. Reverend James Holloway, 72, community leader. Testified about 2017. Pulled over for broken taillight that wasn't broken. Officer claimed he saw him reach for something. Slammed against car. Handcuffed. Searched. Found nothing. No citation. Never appeared in any report. I've lived here 50 years. I've never felt safe calling police. Sarah Martinez, 34, Latina attorney. Irony wasn't lost. Lawyers weren't safe either. Defended client in court. Reynolds testifying. She pointed out inconsistency. After court, Reynolds followed her to parking lot. You made me look bad, counselor. I don't forget. 2 weeks later, pulled over. Car searched. She recorded. Reynolds told her filming police was obstruction. Took her phone, deleted video. Gave her obstruction ticket. She fought it, won dismissal. 8 months, $4,000 in legal fees. Michael Chen, 19, college sophomore. Walking home from library. 11 p.m. Officer stopped him. Demanded ID. Michael complied, asked if detained. Officer didn't like the question. Grabbed him, pushed him against wall. Michael raised hands, didn't resist. Officer searched anyway, found nothing. Next time don't question me. Michael's voice broke. I did everything right. Hands up, didn't talk back, showed ID. And I still thought I was going to die. Chen gently. You're safe here. Thank you for your courage. 3 days. 89 people testified. Patterns emerged. Stops without reason, searches without consent, fabricated charges, retaliation, quotas. Then whistleblower. Officer David Park, 7-year veteran. Closed session. Described directives. Target high crime areas. Code for black neighborhoods. Arrest parties. Competing for most arrests. Evidence planting. Keep spare marijuana in patrol car to justify searches. Delete body cam footage when complaints filed. Park's conscience broke watching Reynolds arrest Evelyn. She cited the law accurately. He arrested her because she made him look bad. That's when I realized, this isn't policing. This is a protection racket. We protect each other, not the public. News leaked. Headlines. Officer describes evidence planting as department policy. Department called Park disgruntled. But Park had receipts, text messages about quotas. been documenting for months. Federal prosecutors had insider testimony plus evidence. Grand jury prepared indictments. Political pressure intensified. Senator Davidson, he's weaponizing DOJ to settle personal scores. Called for Jonathan's resignation. 3 Republican senators joined. White House. Full confidence in Attorney General Brooks. But cost was real. Jonathan's approval dropped from 61 to 49%. Conservative media hammered him. Police unions condemned federal overreach. Fundraising for Reynolds raised $340,000. He became conservative martyr. Death threats increased. FBI protection for Jonathan. Threats against Evelyn. Brick through her window. Your son can't protect you forever. Town hall meeting. 800 people. Split. Half demanding accountability. Half claiming witch hunt. One moment crystallized division. White woman 60s. I've called police dozens of times. They've always helped me. This is blown out of proportion. Black woman 40s. Ma'am, with respect, when you call police, they see someone to protect. When we call, they see suspects. That's the difference. Silence. Exchange went viral. Hashtag they come to protect you versus hashtag they make us disappear. Jonathan watched clips that night. This was the conversation America needed. Painful, divisive, necessary. Silence had protected the system for decades. Only truth could dismantle it. Deputy AG met Jonathan privately. White House is concerned about midterms. This investigation is becoming a liability. So we stop enforcing civil rights laws because of poll numbers? I'm saying manage expectations. Settle for lesser charges. Lesser than what? Evidence shows systematic constitutional violations. Think about the department's reputation. I am. That's why we're doing this. Pressure was real. Leaks to press. DOJ insiders question Brooks's objectivity. Anonymous senior official. This has become personal for the AG. Someone in his department undermining him. Catastrophic computer failure. Server system crashed. Years of internal affairs records. Corrupted beyond recovery. IT claimed hardware failure. FBI forensics. Deliberate. Someone wiped these drives. Sabotage traced to department admin. 15-year tenure. Disappeared, emergency leave. Location unknown. 3 witnesses received threatening calls. Testifying is dangerous for your health. 1 recanted. I misremembered. Officer didn't do anything wrong. Chen knew intimidation, couldn't prove it. Local prosecutor escalated, charging Evelyn with filing false police report. Her statement contradicted Reynolds's official report. Legally absurd. Statement matched video. Politically strategic. Jonathan's mother now defendant. He couldn't intervene without confirming conflict allegations. Evelyn refused special treatment. Let them charge me. I'll defend myself. Done it before. Conservative media. AG's mother faces criminal charges. Coordinated campaign. Think tanks published papers on federal overreach. Op-eds appeared simultaneously. Money traced to police union PACs. Reynolds became folk hero. Speaking tour. Officer who stood up to federal government. Fundraising gala raised $800,000. Senate Judiciary hearing announced. Examining DOJ's objectivity. Date set. 3 weeks. Jonathan knew. Real trial wasn't in court, but Senate. Violence escalated. Federal courthouse vandalized. Chen's car keyed. Bullet hole in Civil Rights Division window. Fired at night, message clear. No arrests. Reverend Holloway's church vandalized. Witness Michael Chen assaulted. Hospitalized. Testifying had consequences. Federal marshals protecting witnesses. This was resistance to accountability. Evelyn met Jonathan at her home, FBI outside. Made tea, sat across from her son. You can stop this. I'm fine. No one has to put themselves at risk for me. Mom, you taught me something when I was 8. Remember? Tell me. Came home crying. Teacher said I'd cheated. I hadn't. She didn't believe me. You told me. The truth isn't determined by who has the power to lie. The truth just is. Our job is to make it heard. I remember. You've spent your whole life making truth heard. Now it's my turn. I can use this office to silence truth, or amplify it. No middle ground. Evelyn tears. I'm so proud of you. But also terrified. You were terrified in 1985 taking on the sheriff's department. Didn't stop you. I had less to lose. I have more to protect. Silence. Outside, rain. On TV, split screen. Reynolds's Gala versus Vigil for Michael Chen. Two Americas, same country. What happens at the hearing? I tell the truth. Then we see if truth still matters. Night before hearing, Jonathan couldn't sleep. Reviewed testimony. Thought about every person who testified. Every life destroyed. Thought about Dante's letter. I thought I was going to jail for reading a book. Your mom saved me. But how many others weren't saved? This was what they fought for. Not vindication. Not political survival. Just the basic promise that sitting on a bench while black isn't a crime. That asking for constitutional rights isn't obstruction. That knowing the law protects you. His mother taught him to believe that. Tomorrow, he'd defend that belief. Even if it cost everything. Senate hearing room packed. Jonathan at witness table. Republicans one side. Democrats the other. Sworn in. Opening statement measured. Reviewed procedures. Explained recusal. Described career prosecutor's leading case. Stuck to facts. Senator Davidson began. This investigation started within hours of your mother's arrest? The Civil Rights Division opened a preliminary inquiry, yes. How long do such inquiries usually take? 2 to 4 weeks. But this started immediately. Because of your mother. Because a clear civil rights violation was captured on video viewed by millions. Or you made a phone call. I made no calls directing this investigation. But you didn't stop it. Stopping a legitimate investigation would be abuse of power. So is using federal law enforcement for personal vendetta. The evidence speaks for itself. 89 witnesses testified. Forensic evidence shows deleted footage, tampered evidence. A whistleblower described constitutional violations as policy. This is about a pattern of lawlessness. But it took your mother's arrest to care, didn't it? Jonathan paused. Yes, you're right. For 40 years, my mother represented victims. The system ignored her. Then it happened to her, and suddenly the system responded. That's shameful. Not because we responded, but because we didn't respond for all the others. Silence. Unscripted now. You want to know if I'm objective? I'm not. I watched an officer handcuff my 67-year-old mother for exercising her rights. I'm furious. But my fury doesn't change facts. The world paid attention because of who she raised. That's the real indictment, that it takes connection to power for victims to be heard. 3 hours later, surprise. Evelyn Brooks entered. Not on witness list. Cameras swiveled. Ms. Brooks, this is irregular. I have a constitutional right to petition my government. I'm exercising it. You weren't scheduled. I'm here anyway. You can hear me or I speak to press outside. Chairman nodded. Be sworn in. Evelyn's testimony calm. Devastating. Described what happened. Described 40 years defending victims the system failed. I represented Marcus Thompson in 1987. Police beat him. I filed lawsuit. Department investigated itself. Found no wrongdoing. Marcus left town too afraid to stay. I represented Clara Dawson in 1993. Police ransacked her home. Wrong address. Clara died 3 years later, never recovered. Dozens more. Same story. I thought if we followed the process, eventually the system would work. It didn't. The system worked for me Saturday though. Because my son is Attorney General. Because cameras watched. Because I have privilege Clara and Marcus didn't. So when you ask if this is personal, yes. Personal to every family who's buried someone killed by police. Personal to every parent who fears their child won't come home. She looked at Davidson. You want to investigate? Investigate why it took a viral video of the Attorney General's mother to enforce laws existing 60 years. Silence. Then clapping from gallery. Scattered, then widespread. Ms. Brooks, thank you. I don't want thanks. I want votes for police reform legislation sitting in this committee 2 years. Evelyn exited. Jonathan watched, pride and pain mixed. Final question. What do you say to demoralized officers? Good officers should welcome accountability. Constitutional policing protects everyone. When communities trust law enforcement, everyone is safer. Hearing adjourned. No formal conclusion, but consensus. Investigation continues. Outside, reporters swarmed. Will you prosecute Reynolds? That decision rests with career prosecutors. But equal justice under law isn't a suggestion. It's a constitutional mandate. This department will enforce it. 2 weeks after hearing, federal grand jury returned indictments. Reynolds, deprivation of rights, falsifying reports, evidence tampering. 3 officers. Conspiracy. IT administrator. Obstruction. Local prosecutor. Malicious prosecution. Trials would take months. Indictments sent message. Department chose consent decree over continued investigation. City Council voted 7-2. Terms, independent monitor 5 years, body cam mandate, ban on quotas, community oversight board, public database of complaints, automatic review of cases involving fired officers. Not perfect, but structural change. Evelyn's charges dropped. No apology. Jonathan's press conference. This is beginning, not end. We're not waiting for viral videos anymore. Poll. 68% supported federal enforcement. Evelyn returned to quiet life. Different now. Received hundreds of letters. You made me believe I mattered. Responded to each. Attended community meetings. Not as lawyer. As witness. Asked to speak. I didn't plan to become symbol. I just refused to be silent. You don't need connection to power. You just need courage. And sometimes a camera. Applause. Sunday morning. Jonathan visited. Porch. Coffee. Maya, 14, joined. Grandma, did you win? He's charged. Departments reformed. So, yes. But you didn't get anything. Winning isn't about what you get. Sometimes it's about what you prevent happening to someone else. Jonathan. Better answer than I gave. Phone buzzed. Another video. Arizona. Maya. Going to do something? Yes. Even if people get mad. Especially then. Evelyn watched them. Her son using power not to protect himself, but others. She taught him that. She didn't know if they'd won. Reynolds would probably avoid prison. Decree would face resistance. More videos would emerge. But something shifted. Federal government. We're watching. Communities. We're recording. Officers. Videos have consequences. Not enough. But not nothing. That night, Jonathan wrote memo to 93 U.S. attorneys. Proactive civil rights enforcement. Examine departments, find patterns, don't wait for viral videos. Some would ignore it. Some embrace it. Change always uneven. But still change. 6 months later. Town Hall. Dante approached. Ms. Brooks. How are you, Dante? Wanted to thank you. Changed everything. How? Studying law. Pre-law. You showed me law can protect people, not just punish. Eyes watered. That's wonderful. Going to be civil rights lawyer. Like you. World needs more. Professor assigned your cases. Won some. Not enough. But fought them all. Yes. I'm going to fight them too. He walked away. She thought about Clara Marcus, all the cases she lost. Maybe she didn't lose them. Maybe they were waiting. For someone like Dante. Justice isn't a moment. It's a relay race. Run your leg past the baton. She's past it now. Monitor. Made progress. Miles to go. How do we know this time is different? Because you're here. You're watching. You won't let us forget. That's the answer. Not hoping system fixes itself. Refusing to stop demanding it change. On wall, photos. In memory, victims. In honor, those who speak truth. Her photo there. Grateful not for recognition. For remembrance. Jonathan drove her home. Past intersection where arrested. Barricades gone. Just street corner. But neither would forget. How one moment became reckoning. How handcuffs became crack in armor. How mother's dignity became son's mandate. Next morning's headline. Federal decree takes effect. Photo. Jonathan speaking, Evelyn listening. Both knowing this is just one chapter. Story isn't over. Only just begun. Thank you for watching this to the end. If you enjoy this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next video.